Welcome to the video on perimeter and area. Just a quick review for applied math. We'll start with some vocabulary here on area and discuss a little bit about the problems that we'll see involving area. So area is the flat space inside of an object or shape. Its units are in square units, so for example, feet squared. Out in the real world, problems involving area include carpeting or flooring, painting, ground maintenance, like applying salt to roads, weed killer over a large area, etc. We are going to be focusing on just some straightforward math area problems for right now. So this first area example is of a triangle, and the formula for area of a triangle, that's what this notation is, area of a triangle, is 1/2 base times height. Now in this example, the information that is given to us, the triangle is set up more so that the base is actually flipped around here. So the base that they're giving us is the 4.6 in relation to the height of 5.3. The way that it is sitting here, the 5.8 could be the base, but then we don't have this height information, so we can't use the 5.8 as the base. Instead, we need to use the 4.6 as the base and the 5.3 as the height. So that becomes simple enough, just plugging in the 4.6 for the base, the 5.3 for the height, and we get 12.19 meters squared. Please make sure you are squaring the unit. And this example specifically is a parallelogram. The formula for area of a parallelogram is just base times height. And the tricky part with the parallelogram is, again, identifying the actual base and the height. And really what we're going to focus on is where the height is given. In this case, that red line on the inside, just like the triangle, is the height. So we need to turn the parallelogram in a way that the 8 becomes visually the height, and we can see then that the 10.7 is the base. So when we calculate the area, the 9.6 will not be used. It will just be the 10.7 as the base and the 8 as the height. So plugging in the 10.7 and the 8, multiplying those out, 85.6 square yards. Now, spending some time discussing the same things for perimeter. Perimeter, by definition, is the distance around an object. For circles, the perimeter is technically called the circumference. And for that reason, technically there are different formulas. In the green there, it says add all sides together. So that's why it's called the perimeter. So when we are adding sides together, we are using the perimeter. If there's any sort of circle or semicircle, then we're finding the circumference for that piece. But ultimately, we are adding everything together. And so our units is just units, whatever it is, feet, meters, whatever. Examples of real life problems involving perimeter would be things like fencing, framing pictures, borders around a garden or something, and then traveling distance. So with these examples, we just need to worry about the outside edges, and this information in red here will not be used. So just adding the 3 sides together for this triangle, the perimeter of this triangle is 16.1 meters. For the parallelogram, again, just like the triangle, we are only worried about the outside edges, and this 8 that's red in this middle does not count because as I make my way around the perimeter, I do not touch the 8. However, we do touch this extra side that was not labeled with the 10.7. It is 10.7. A couple of things about parallelograms make them 10.7. So we are allowed to assume that that's 10.7 there. So adding 2 10.7s, adding 2 9.6s, we get 40.6 yards. Now we're at a portion of the notes that aren't actually part of your notes, but it is some review of the Pythagorean theorem that you might need for one of your assignments related to this lesson. So just a really quick look at the Pythagorean theorem. This is where a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and the a and b are the legs, and the c is the hypotenuse of a right triangle. So you just have to remember that the hypotenuse is the side that's opposite the 90-degree angle, and a and b are the legs. They're called the legs of the right triangle, leg, hypotenuse. Because this is addition, which leg you make A or B does not matter, but you have to solve A squared plus B squared equals C squared to find any of these three missing sides of the triangle. And again, I believe that will come in handy with your assignment. Specifically this part of the assignment where you have this slanted wall right here. This is the part of the assignment that you're going to probably need the Pythagorean theorem for. This is an example of the worksheet that you should be filling out in reference to that other paper that has the Pythagorean theorem. You're finding each room's perimeter and each room's area and answering some questions about this particular floor plan. The second part of this assignment is for you to design your own apartment. There are minimums that are required. It should be between 600 and 800 square feet, and you have some dimension restrictions here. I strongly suggest that you get a piece of graph paper and maybe let every block, every grid on the graph paper represent a square foot or maybe 10 square feet, but I think 1 square foot should work to be able to multiply out to get 600 or 800 square feet, if I remember correctly. So this is the second part of the assignment for this area and perimeter lesson.